When we think about success and being the most successful version of us, really the main thing that's holding you back, the core thing holding you back is you're not being your authentic self. Okay? Because listen to it this way. Like the most successful version of you that's rich, living their dream life, they're a multimillionaire, they have everything that you want is really authentic. And they're okay with being authentic. They don't care what people think about them. Okay? And this is something that we have to come to terms with a little bit. Okay? Are you really being authentic? And this can be a confusing question for a lot of us. Okay? Because lots of times I think that there's kind of like two things here. As a kid, we start off being authentic. We start off liking what we like, and we don't care what other people think. You understand? Like, for example, if you like cars, you're really into cars, and you really want your dream car, you're into Porsches or McLarens or Lamborghinis, well, be that authentic you. Okay, that's what you like, that's what you're into. Okay, if you could have your dream car, that's what you would buy. Okay, you understand? See, that's your authentic self. But what ends up happening is somewhere along the lines, sometimes it happens when we get older, and sometimes it can even happen to you when you're 18 years old. Okay, is it tends to be beat out of you. You understand? Either your parents chastise you for it, either they argue with you, they put you down, they tell you that, why do you want a dream car? Just settle for a Honda Civic. Be practical. No, stop wanting this goo goo wah wah stuff. Stop wanting your dream life stuff, being an entrepreneur, being a millionaire. That's all. You're not a kid anymore. You're 18 years old. Okay. So that's basically what starts happening, like in that kind of way. Okay, maybe not exactly that, but lots of times we get around people and we listen to people without us knowing it. Okay, like our subconscious mind is listening, even if we're not. If you're around the wrong group of people, if you're in not a good environment, okay, the chatter in the background, you're really listening to it and it's really rubbing off on you. So that's what ends up happening. Okay. Now, the second thing that ends up happening is lots of times when we get older, the same thing happens. Is maybe it wasn't so much beat out of us as a kid, okay, but as we got older, we tend to be around more practical people, even though we're not practical. We tend to, when we go to work, who are we around at work? Okay. And that's the main thing I want to talk about here is when we talk about that section of stuff, it's who you hang around in your environment. So who you hang around, if you can't talk about what you truly want, what you truly like to your friends, well, that should be a sign that maybe you're hanging around the wrong people. Okay, you understand. If I can't be the authentic me and talk about things that I want, what I want to do, I want to travel the world, I want to manifest my dream life, whatever it is, okay, if you can, either they come back at you directly and say something, or once you start talking, you can just feel their body language. They don't want to hear it from you, okay? That should tell you something again. You're hanging around the wrong people. And that's the same thing for your environment, my friends. If your environment isn't uplifting you to be the best version of you, well, you're not in the best environment. Okay? So let's talk about this a little bit more deeper. Okay, because I think being the most authentic version of you, if I can get the camera right, this is a one-take wonder, baby. Okay, sometimes I get busy and I don't have time to do fancy edits. That's what you have to understand. Okay, you have to align with, okay, the most successful version of you. How you align with it is being the authentic you and really being okay with what you like, what you want to do. I mean, that's the first part of being authentic. You have to be okay with you. You have to be okay with what you like, and you don't care what other people think. Okay, listen, if you're a gamer, you love to play video games, that's the authentic you. Listen, that's what the most successful version of you would do and be into. Okay, but what ends up happening is sooner or later you fight against it. And listen, when you fight against it, okay, you're not aligned with it anymore. You're not aligned with being authentic. Okay, and if you're not aligned with being authentic, you're not aligned with being the most successful version of you. Because for some reason, I mean, we all have internal gifts. We all have things that we are just destined to achieve on earth. Okay, I don't want to get super spiritual with you a little bit, but the only way we're going to achieve it, the only way we're going to be that most successful version is being our authentic self. Okay, being okay with what we want. Listen, guys, I'll give you some examples. Okay, I gave you an example of the car. Okay, if you're really into cars, okay, be okay with that. It doesn't matter what your best friends think. It doesn't matter what your significant other thinks. It doesn't matter what your SP thinks. Okay, it's what you want, but that's what makes you authentic. If you're into houses, you want your dream house. You want to, let's say you want a 10,000 square foot house. That's what you want. Be okay with that. Be okay with that, baby. Okay, you understand? Maybe you want to be a successful entrepreneur. You want to make millions of dollars. Be okay with that. Who cares what other people think? Be okay with that. Okay? You understand? Maybe you want to be the most successful person in your family. Be okay with that. You understand? Maybe let's go down the rabbit hole a little bit. Maybe you cuss and you swear when you talk, but that's the authentic you. Okay? Be okay with that. You understand? Okay, now the person that comes to mind with that is actually Gary Vee. You think like, how can Gary Vee be this professional businessman? And really, in all his early videos, dude, he flew around the F word all over the place. You understand? Even Tony Robbins does that. You understand? Because they're being their authentic them. Okay, even when you look at Alex Hormozi and Layla Hormozi, they're being their authentic them. They're not going at entrepreneurship, even though they're super, super wealthy and super rich. Okay, but they're not going at it their stereotypical, if I could talk, their stereotypical way. Okay, look at Alex Hormozi. Okay, he shows up pretty much in a tank top and gym shorts because he's all buff. Okay, he's not walking around in a business suit. Okay, he even explains the story all the time sometimes. He even says, like, all his mentors told him that you should dress in a suit. But that wasn't him. He wanted to be the authentic version of him. Okay, even Layla Hormozi, Layla is kind of goofy and corny, but she shows her goofiness and corniness in her videos. Even she said that she had mentors and coaches tell her, don't do that. You need to look professional and act professional. But they figured out that they wanted to be the authentic version of them. And when they're being that most authentic version, they're directly aligned with that most successful version of them, my friends. That's what you got to get. Okay. I heard this explained, I think last night I was watching a video and I heard someone explain it like this. And it really resonated with me because sometimes, even for myself, sometimes we get, we let outside people influence us indirectly, or we let outside people, their opinions, even though they're not telling our opinions, we just let kind of the norm, kind of society norm. Sometimes we fall into that. What society views as normal, okay, makes us misaligned with being the most authentic version of ourselves, and that makes us misaligned with the most successful version. Okay, now I'm gonna repeat myself because I'm gonna sound like a flippin' robot. Okay, listen, your most successful version of you, that's rich, that has everything that you want, is authentic. Okay, they don't care. They don't care what other people think. They're past that. They're past that stage because they realized that most successful version of you realized, in order to live my dream life, in order for me to have what I want, I have to not care what other people think. Makes sense? And that, listen guys, that includes your family. That includes your wife, your boyfriend, your husband, your significant other, whatever you want to call it. That includes your best friends, your mastermind groups, your core group you hang out in. That includes all your acquaintances at work. That includes your environment you hang out in. That includes everything. You got to be authentic. You got to be okay with you. Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, listen, how do you want to dress? You understand? Be you. Be authentically you. Because that most successful version is that authentic self. That's why lots of times you see in my videos, lots of times if I'm in the mood to do a video, dude, lots of times I just put a hat on my head and I'll do the video. Make sense? I don't care about my environment. I don't care if my environment looks ugly. You understand? Because I'm just being the authentic version of Chad, baby. Okay. Now, in the past, I'm going back a decade, 15 years. Like you can see some videos. Well, they're not on YouTube anymore, but I had like really old videos that I think I do have them on YouTube. I think they're in my book reviews when I was going over like Think and Grow Rich and Science of Getting Rich. Like, dude, I'm dressed in a flippin' suit. Okay, I'm not dressed casual. You understand? Like even right now, I'll be honest with you, right now, like I've lived in Thailand for 5 years. Aang and I came up here to Surin. We're in her family house right now in Surin. We've been up here for a year taking care of her dad because her dad's health wasn't that great. Okay. And the positive side, his health turned around, baby. So we're getting ready to move to Bangkok. Okay. But one of the things when we came up here like a year ago, I was kind of embarrassed to do videos up here. I'll be honest with you. You understand? I was kind of embarrassed to do videos because the house is like basically just a real Thai house. Okay, it's ugly, it's old. When you go outside and walk around, all you see is poverty in the village. You see alcoholics walking around, like, you know what I mean? You see trash and all the land is unkept. Nothing is beautiful and mowed. You know what I mean? I was kind of embarrassed to do videos. I was even embarrassed to do videos in here. You understand? I mean, this is all of our stuff over here. It's all packed to go to Bangkok. But sometimes, again, guys, sometimes I'll get comments on my videos that people will say, oh, you're talking about being the most successful version of you. You're talking about manifesting a dream life and you're sitting in a broken up house or a broken up room. Okay? But again, I'm being the most authentic version of me. I'm not caring. Who cares what you think? Okay? Who cares what other people think? I don't need to explain myself. I don't need to explain like, oh, this is what we're doing. This is why I'm here. But you have to understand, like, you have to hold your own energy. Okay? Who cares what the outside world thinks? Who cares what's going on around you? Be you. Be the authentic version of you. Okay, and this might take a little bit of work because you're still gonna have some, what I want to say, you're still gonna have some dogma in your mind. You're still gonna have some preconditioning in your mind. Okay, it's still gonna bother you a little bit, but you got to move forward with it. You got to start dressing like the most authentic version of you. You got to start talking like the most authentic version of you. You understand? Okay, if you don't really talk grammatically correct, that's the authentic version of you. You understand? Okay, if you like to dress casual, you like to dress like almost like a punk style, a rock style, that's the authentic version of you. Okay, and as we wrap up this video, I want you to see, okay, we all have friends, or we at least know people that they are very authentic. You understand? They don't care what people think. They're carefree. They do what they want to do. Makes sense? If they make a decision, that's their decision. They dress how they want to dress. They like what they like. They don't care. If they like Lamborghinis, that's what they like, baby. That's what they're going to buy. That's what they're going to spend their money on. Okay? But what you'll find is, when you look at their life, what you'll find is They tend to be more aligned with the most successful version of them, and life just seems to be going their way. Isn't it true? It's like they have the favor of God over their life. Okay? The reason why that's happening is because they're aligned with the most successful version of them. How do they stay aligned? Is because they're acting like the authentic version of them. They're truly just liking what they like, and who cares what other people think. Okay, my friends? But other than that, tribe, YouTube fam, just want to share that with you guys. Comment below, let me know what you think about this. We'll chat it up in the comments. Aang just came home over here. Well, she bought me some cola, make me nice and fat. But anyway, leave a comment below. If you need help with this, everything's in my description to reach out to me, get involved with different things I have. Some is free, some stuff you have to pay for, of course. But anyway, comment below. I'll help you out. Peace out. Remember, I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.